Hey everybody, this is Doa, and today we're going to watch a PvP matchup on Naga Caverns. The players that we're going to be observing is going to be WhiteRa, spawning as our red Protoss player in the southern part of the map, and his opponent is going to be LiquidTLO. Now, there are a ton of WhiteRa TLO games, and see, I'm already calling him WhiteRa. I can't help it. Even if he changed his name to something like, I don't know, Dr. Phil Ra, I would still have to call him WhiteRa, because that's how I know him from beta, so sorry, WhiteRa. But anyway, he's going to be playing LiquidTLO. Definitely sort of the eternal struggle between these two players. Of course, I've heard they're pretty good friends. Understandably, there's not a lot of bad blood between players in StarCraft 2. And these two have met on multiple occasions at multiple tournaments. There's been show matches between them. As far as I know, this game is just sort of a public game, that it was either just a ladder game or just a game they had played for fun. I don't believe this is part of any sort of event that I'm aware of. If I'm wrong, definitely correct me in the comments and I'll fix it up here. But yeah, we're going to see a little bit of PvP, and to be honest with you, I don't know if I've ever seen TLO play PvP, so I'm really kind of curious to see how this game turns out. Notably, TLO has just become the #1 rated, as far as ladder points go, StarCraft 2 player in the world, and he did it playing random, which is just absolutely amazing. I mean, to know every matchup on every map with every race, that's pretty incredible feat. So congratulations, TLO. That's awesome. Can't wait to see what he's going to do in future events here for StarCraft 2. But so far, pretty standard opening from both players here. Looks like we've got the Gateway and the Assimilator going down at the normal timing. Scout coming in for WhiteRa there. And also the Assimilator and Gateway going in for WhiteRa as well. So nothing out of the ordinary, no cheese or anything like that. I think both of these players would prefer to play kind of a straight-up game against each other. But given that one of the players is TLO, we can pretty much be guaranteed that we're going to see something that's a little bit outside of the ordinary, as I struggle so hard to get that sentence out. Sometimes it's very tough. Looks like WhiteRa has stolen the gas of TLO, doesn't want to deal with any sort of early teching builds. Not an unreasonable thing to do at all in PvP. Now, a lot of times players will go 4-gate against each other. I've got a feeling that this is not going to be a 4-gate versus 4-gate. I think both of these players like to kind of explore other options as much. And if this was kind of just a game for fun, you know, ideally we're going to see something a little bit crazier too. Looks like we do have WhiteRa taking his second gas, so interestingly enough, he will be going something for a little bit higher tech. Let's see, in PvP, as far as higher tech builds, there's a couple different options that you see a little bit more commonly than others. I mean, there's a lot of different options you can do. Of course, going for a very fast robotics facility to get out a quick Colossus is an option I've seen once in a while. I suppose DTs is also an option. Looks like TLO does actually want the second gas a little bit sooner. He is focusing on it quite a bit with these Zealots. He's actually giving WhiteRa a lot of time to just kind of scout out the base a little bit as he carries around the Energon cube there. And yeah, wow, that does look exactly like an Energon cube. So who knows, maybe someday Terran will have Transformers and they will come and steal those Energon cubes from WhiteRa's. I almost said SCVs, but I meant probes. It looks like TLO's actually going to put down a Stargate. Okay, so I'm kind of curious to see what he'll do here. Void Rays, I suppose, are something that have been done lately. If you have sort of the hint that your opponent is going Colossus, of course Void Rays do more damage to massive units now, so it's not a bad way to go, really. We see a little bit of scouting from WhiteRa, both of these players kind of looking for any sort of hidden tech. TLO sending his first 2 Zealots out to try to do some damage as well as search about the map themselves. Now, meanwhile, back at the base of WhiteRa, we have a few more gateways going down, but also a Twilight Council. Blink Stalkers are a definite possibility in this particular case, I would say, so we're going to have to see what he decides to get with this. Yeah, there's Blink right away, so WhiteRa going with Blink Stalkers, perfectly reasonable. TLO moving into a couple Zealots and a Stalker to try to do some damage to WhiteRa here. This sentry getting very, very low. The sentry for TLO does go down, and it looks like TLO Zealots are still alive, but with a couple sentries, WhiteRa, aka WhiteRa, of course, is going to be able to kite those pretty well and take those out before they cause much damage. They may get a couple probe kills, but I wouldn't be too worried about it. Looks like just 1 or 2 probe kills here. Always a good idea to go after the ones in gas too, just because it is so easy. You know, maybe not at this high of a level of play, but at the lower levels it's very easy to forget to put guys back in gas after you lose gatherers rather. So you know, if you're a little bit lower level player, and even I would say, you know, diamond and masters level players, definitely reasonable to go after the SCVs and the gas first if you can snipe them off. If you're attacking with a unit that attacks a little bit slower and it has to, you know, wait for a couple trips, you might want to go after the ones getting minerals first, but if you got something like that, not a bad idea to go after the ones in gas. Looks like we have a little bit of an incursion coming in from WhiteRa. Blink has finished right now. Phoenixes from TLO lifting some of those stalkers there, so TLO actually using Phoenixes in a way that I don't know if I've really seen before in conjunction with stalkers. That's kind of an interesting play there, as the Phoenixes actually you'd think would be a little bit vulnerable to stalkers. It looks like he has run out of abilities to, or energy to lift with those stalkers for now, or not the stalkers, with the Phoenixes here. More stalkers coming in from WhiteRa, and really the Phoenixes doing a good job of keeping TLO alive in this game, as initially WhiteRa did have the superior number for stalkers and would be able to focus down the ones for TLO, but it looks like TLO is going to be able to defend with these Phoenixes. Nice job really by TLO so far, staying alive in this game. No more Phoenixes on the way quite yet. He does have his own Twilight Council going down. I wonder if he's going to be getting Blink as well. That would not be a bad idea. Looks like he's going to attack here, lifting up a few more stalkers, trying to get any advantage he can. WhiteRa blinking back for just a moment. TLO does retreat to his high ground, warping in 3 more stalkers. He's going to move in and try to take out some of the units of WhiteRa. Looks like WhiteRa does have to pull back a little bit. Kind of strange how I like randomly call him WhiteRa and randomly call him WhiteRa. It just kind of comes out like that, honestly. There's no like rhyme or reason to it. Another pylon going down for TLO. Let's take a look at the base of WhiteRa for just a second. Nothing really out of the ordinary going down there. He does get a forge, it looks like, and wait a second, that is a Dark Shrine. So it looks like a Dark Shrine for WhiteRa. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, Dark Shrines actually are not too uncommon in PvP, and yeah, as I say that, TLO puts down his Dark Shrine as well. Wow, so we're going to have DT versus DT. There's the forge. Both players are definitely going to want cannons at their choke to watch out for DTs. And wow, so about as much of a mirror match as you possibly could get, except for the addition of a few Phoenixes by TLO there. Now the DTs for TLO are going to come out a little bit slower, as WhiteRa was able to tech into that a little bit quicker. WhiteRa putting down another forward pylon there. TLO may try to go snipe that off, but I think he's going to be content sitting in his base here for now. We're going to have to see what he plans on doing exactly with that. Forge coming in for TLO. He's going to try to pick off that sentry. The sentry very lucky getting away there. Couple cannons going down for TLO. That's going to kind of take a little bit of pressure off him, as well as kind of watch for those DTs. And now keep in mind, neither player really knows about the DTs rather. TLO does probably see them right now. Nice force field there, keeping the units of WhiteRa outside of his base. WhiteRa blinking out with just a couple stalkers, but of course DTs don't have ranged attacks, so it's not going to really help him a whole lot. TLO actually doing a lot of damage. Now the cannons warp in. The DTs for WhiteRa are in serious trouble. I don't think this attack is really going anywhere. And TLO actually lifting up the DT that got into his space there, kind of holding him and making him a little bit of a flying trophy for his victory, as WhiteRa does GG. Nice job with TLO. Kind of not necessarily maybe reading his opponent possibly, but you know, able to react very quickly, I would say. Nice job by TLO there. Looks like he was planning on going for a DT drop, getting a warp prism there. So yeah, really interesting PvP strategy from both players here. Hope you enjoyed it. Kind of a nice, quick, cool game to cast this evening. And yeah, if you like my cast, definitely subscribe. Otherwise, again, this is Doa, and I do cast for the Rush Network, www.therushnetwork.com. Check it out. Otherwise, keep playing StarCraft 2, guys, and I'll see you on the next cast.